20 years later, I'm even sadder that Star Trek Enterprise Season 5 didn't happen because of these three planned stories. It's hard to believe, but it's now been 2 decades since Star Trek Enterprise was canceled in 2005. At the time, many fans, including me, were frustrated with its uneven first 2 seasons and the way it struggled to find its identity. But as the years have gone by, I've come to appreciate just how much potential the series had, especially after its remarkable turnaround in Season 3's serialized Xindi arc and the bold storytelling of Season 4. In hindsight, the tragedy isn't that Enterprise existed, it's that it ended right when it finally got good. And the sting gets worse when you realize how much the writers had already mapped out for a 5th season. There wasn't just a vague, "someday we'll do this" list. Producers like Manny Coto and Brannon Braga openly discussed the arcs and ideas they wanted to explore in Season 5 before the plug was pulled. These weren't filler stories, they were rich, franchise-shaping narratives that could have cemented Enterprise as one of the most important Star Trek shows. Looking back now, I can't help but feel even sadder about the cancellation. Because the three biggest planned storylines for Enterprise Season 5 weren't just exciting, they were foundational. They would have connected the dots between Enterprise and the original series in ways fans had dreamed of for decades. Let's revisit them and feel the weight of what might have been. 1. The origins of the Borg Queen. When people think of Enterprise's best standalone episodes, Regeneration from Season 2 often comes up. That episode cleverly tied the Borg to Archer's timeline by having Starfleet unknowingly unearth Borg drones left over from First Contact's 21st century crash site in the Arctic. It ended with those drones sending a signal into deep space, set to arrive in the Delta Quadrant centuries later, providing a chilling breadcrumb trail that connected Archer to Picard. But Season 5 was supposed to take that even further. Manny Coto teased that the series wanted to return to the Borg storyline in a way that would expand on the Queen's origins. The idea wasn't to suddenly make Archer into a Borg-slaying hero, but rather to suggest how the Borg collective we meet in the Next Generation had roots planted far earlier. Some hints even suggested that the experiments done in the 22nd century might have helped shape the eventual creation of the Queen herself. Imagine the narrative symmetry. Enterprise would have tied humanity's earliest contact with the Borg not just to a rogue signal, but to the seeds of their most terrifying evolution. Archer's encounters could have shown just how far back the Borg's manipulation and adaptation went, reinforcing the idea that the Federation's struggle with them was written into destiny. We'll never know exactly how the writers would have explained it, but one thing is certain, a Borg Queen origin arc in Season 5 would have been the kind of chilling, lore-heavy story that retroactively elevated both Enterprise and the Next Generation. Instead, all we got was a tantalizing what-if left buried in production interviews. 2. The introduction of the Romulan War. If Enterprise had survived just one more year, it would have gotten to its ultimate payoff, the Romulan War. This was the storyline that fans had been waiting for since the show premiered in 2001. The Earth-Romulan conflict had been part of Star Trek canon since the original series episode Balance of Terror, but it was always left frustratingly vague. By the timeline, the Romulan War was supposed to occur right after Enterprise's final years. Manny Coto revealed that Season 5 would have been the ramp-up to this legendary conflict. Seeds had already been planted in Season 4, with the Romulans using drone ships to destabilize relations among the Andorians, Vulcans, and Tellarites. The plan for Season 5 was to escalate that brewing Cold War into something much larger, with Earth and its allies finally pushed into direct conflict with the Romulan Star Empire. This wouldn't have just been another action arc. The Romulan War is, canonically, what forged the necessity of the Federation. It's what convinced Earth and its neighboring species that unity wasn't optional, but essential for survival. Season 5 could have shown us Archer becoming not just a captain, but the wartime leader whose experiences laid the groundwork for the Federation's creation. Even more tantalizing, the production team wanted to reveal why the Earth-Romulan War had the strange rule that combat was fought with nuclear weapons and limited visibility, details that were canonically mentioned but never explained. They planned to show the Romulans deploying technology that prevented direct communication, forcing Earth's fleets into blind, submarine-style battles in space. That could have been a visually stunning, nerve-wracking depiction of interstellar war unlike anything else in the franchise. To this day, the Romulan War remains one of the great untold chapters of Star Trek. And the fact that Enterprise was on the cusp of finally showing it makes its cancellation hurt more than ever. 3. Jeffrey Combs as a series regular Shran. If there's one bright spot across all of Enterprise's ups and downs, it's Jeffrey Combs as Shran, the feisty Andorian commander. Every time he appeared, he stole the show with his sarcastic wit, fiery loyalty, and the kind of charisma that instantly made him a fan favorite. He was everything you could want in a Star Trek character, funny, unpredictable, but layered with surprising depth. Season 5 would have made him a regular cast member. Yes, really. The plan was for Shran to join the Enterprise crew as a permanent addition. Whether he would have been a formal Starfleet officer or an allied representative varied depending on who you ask, but the basic idea was clear. Shran would have been at Archer's side for good. Think about what that would have meant. Archer and Shran had one of the best rivalries to friendships in modern Trek, constantly sparring but ultimately respecting each other. Making Shran a regular would have given the show a Spock-McCoy-Kirk-style dynamic, with Archer, Topple, and Shran forming a core trio of personalities clashing and collaborating in equal measure. It would also have given the Andorians, a species often overlooked in Trek, a spotlight role as the Federation inched toward creation. Plus, it was Jeffrey Combs. The man who had already given us iconic Trek roles like Weon and Brunt deserved a permanent seat at the table. The fact that we lost out on years of Shran banter, Shran character arcs, and Shran/Archer buddy moments is one of the greatest losses of Enterprise's cancellation. The legacy of what could have been. Looking back 20 years later, the pain of Enterprise's cancellation isn't just nostalgia. It's knowing that the writers had finally figured out what the show needed to be, and that the best was literally just around the corner. Season 5 wasn't going to be filler, it was going to deliver foundational pieces of the Star Trek mythos. The Borg's evolution, the Romulan War, and the Federation's birth, with Shran as part of the family. Instead, the show ended with, "These are the voyages," a finale widely regarded as one of the weakest in Star Trek history. It's almost cruel when you realize how much better things could have been. In the years since, other shows like Star Trek, Discovery, and Strange New Worlds have circled back to some of these story elements. But none of them have captured the exact perspective Enterprise offered. A boots-on-the-ground look at humanity's first steps toward building something bigger than itself. Maybe that's why, even 2 decades later, I still mourn Season 5. Because it wasn't just another season of Trek. It was the one that could have given us answers to mysteries, deepened the canon, and transformed